Hello everyone, today I'm gonna show you how to paint a simple background like this. And what I mean by a simple background, it is a background that doesn't have complex components and mainly make up of basic shapes like square, rectangle and circle. Find and use a photo with these traits as a reference is a great way to introduce yourself to background painting, because each object and texture have a lot of small details on them. So without a reference, it would be hard to imagine those details by yourself. And even Pro has to look at some references as well, so don't be worried. And talking about reference, this is the photo that I chose for this video. I took it with a film camera a while ago, and as you can see, there are a lot of squares and rectangles in this picture. By the way, the software that I use is Procreate. You can use Photoshop or whatever drawing software you have. So now let's get started with blocking area. I will separate each area into different layers. I do this with the objects that have a clear shape and with area that I want to put a lot of details in. This way you can paint on an individual object without interrupting other areas. Once I've done with blocking area, I start drafting rough details. Actually, these two steps are interchangeable. It depends on your reference. I started with blocking area because my reference is simple and has a clear shape. But if it has more details and complexity, I would make a rough sketch first. In this step, I focus more on things that are hard to define with basic shape, such as plants. Next, I'm going to give you 2 useful tips that will make digital painting much easier for you. And this is actually the reason why I separate each area into different layers. Tip number 1. Use clipping mask. Create a new layer over the layer that you block the area. Then click on the new layer and click on clipping mask. Now, no matter where you paint on this layer, it will only appear on the area that you have painted on the layer below. I usually use this to add shadow and highlight, but mostly with shadow. And the way I add shadow is just change the blending mode to multiply and adjust opacity, and that's it. And move on to the tip number 2. Use opacity lock. Click on one of your area layer, then click on opacity lock. It works just like clipping mask, but the difference is that it wasn't on a separate layer. I use this to paint objects' texture and color. So to summarize everything I have done so far, I've blocked the area for each object and then used opacity lock to add texture and color, and then add shadow on another layer with clipping mask. And that's pretty much it. The rest you have to do is to add all the small details. I recommend looking at the reference photo a lot while doing this. You could also add ambient color and lighting on top of everything to add more dynamic. And there you go. This is the final look. I might not be the best at this, but I still hope this video would be useful to those who are interested in digital background painting. Thank you for watching this video.